What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another Riding Dad channel video, or welcome if it's your first time. Either way, very glad to have you. This is my Lowrider S. If you're unfamiliar, it's a 2020 M8 Softail, obviously. We're going to be replacing the internals of the front forks today. We have the Legends Axeo, I believe is how you pronounce it, front cartridge inserts for this inverted front end. The install is going to be similar for any inverted front end. Fat Bob and Sport Glide, I believe, the only other two inverted as of this video, front end Softail M8s. So install is going to be different, install is the same, part numbers are different, so make sure you buy the correct part. As always, everything will be in the links. There's some specialty tools that we kind of need and some that we don't necessarily need, but it'll make life easier. So let's go ahead and roll the intro and we'll come back.
Riding down a YouTube channel, it's the Riding down a YouTube channel, it's the Riding down a YouTube channel, it's the Riding down a
All right, so before we go any further, Tucker Speed. Every single video of mine, my affiliate link for their website is in the description. Also, right underneath is the coupon code RIDINGDAD. This product and a lot of other products are available through them. Make sure you use the affiliate code. It helps me out, and that obviously helps them when you're buying from them. And definitely use my coupon code because it will save you, I believe it's 10% off. Pretty sure it's 10% off. I can never remember the percentage off. Either way, it'll save you some money, which is nice. This is where I bought these. I'm really excited to do this. This is not the most expensive cartridge upgrade you could do for your forks. However, it got really good reviews. Everybody I've seen talk about them was good. Other people recommended Race Tech. Other people recommended GP Suspension to me, some different brands and stuff like that. But everybody that I've heard has had the Legends set up with the RWD in the back has been really happy with it. The other brands were like $700 or $800, almost more than this. So I was like, let me just go with this. The install looks pretty easy. They're self-contained units pretty much. For those of you that don't know, and we'll look at it more when we get it, but for those of you that don't know, the inverted front ends on the Softail M8s from Harley, although they are better than the typical front ends, they're still not great. They basically have two different sides doing two different things. One of the things that this cartridge install is going to do is uniform what the internals of those front forks are doing, and each fork is going to be essentially acting the same. So it's going to give a lot more stability, a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's going to be better. A lot of what I'm looking mostly to immediately notice out of this is no front brake dive as much as it was anymore, basically. For those of you that are real familiar, especially if you ride your bike kind of hard, especially, or whenever you pull on that front brake relatively hard, if not even just a little bit, your front nose dives real bad. Your front forks dive. So supposedly this will help a lot. It should be a relatively easy install. This is 100% honesty the first suspension for the front forks that I've ever done on any bike. So I've read a lot of installs on it. I've looked at the instructions a lot. I've watched some other videos on some similar stuff. So hopefully I don't screw anything up. The other cool thing, the Axios actually do come with oil. I bought oil ahead of time because I wasn't 100% sure if they came with it. Pictures showed it, but then other people doing installs said they didn't, whatever. So I just bought some of the same exact one, but it does come with oil. So this is all inclusive. There are, like I said, two tools. They're Jim's tools, one of which is pretty much needed, one of which is not. We will go ahead and I'll link that when we get to it and we'll talk about it. But for right now, we have to remove the fender. We have to remove the brake calipers from the left and right side. And then we have to remove the entire wheel to get access to dropping these forks out. Another thing that's important to note from my situation, if you saw my video, I installed these shims to be able to drop the forks down a little bit. These shims are from Harry Customs. So you'll see when I take these forks out, I have these little plastic shims that basically just fill a small void in the top of this lower tree mount that allows the forks to drop. So that'll be the only thing different about my install to yours if you're going to be doing the same thing unless you have these. So otherwise, same concept. I'm still going to drop it to where the top of the tube still sits right at the top of the front tree. You will have to make sure that your bike is lifted up off the floor enough that your front rotates freely and that your wheel isn't on the ground, so we can actually take it out and not compress the forks. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start this install. Like I said, we're gonna take everything off. Once everything is off, come back and we'll talk about it kind of step by step about which fork we're gonna use, which insert, because they are different. You can't just start putting stuff in here. So, and how we're gonna drain, take everything out, all of that, we're gonna talk about it. So let's start it. Fingers crossed. Good luck for me.
I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place, see. Cause everybody wanna tell you bad things, what could go wrong, what fame brings. But success is a finicky thing, and if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. And I don't wanna let myself down, myself down. And I don't wanna let myself down, myself down. I don't have to plan it, I can go change my fate. You won't understand it, all alone, that's okay. People, I can't stand them, they don't want me to change. Keep me where I'm standing, and I don't wanna be where I am. And I want something more, take a chance. It could be possibly my last dance, my last dance. And I don't wanna let myself down, myself down.
All right, so now that we got everything off, before we detach it from the tree mounts, it's gonna be easier to break. We're starting with the left one. First of all, when you're on the bike, the left side. So when you're looking at the front, the right. We're starting with this one. It's gonna be easier to break the top once this is clamped in here, loose, and then also break this kind of drain bolt on the bottom. We're not gonna undo it, just break it loose a little bit. This bottom is a 6mm. I am using it in my T-handle fitting. It's gonna be through this piece right here, and this is free spinning at this point. So if you have like a real thick, this might be too thick actually. Yep, too thick, so I gotta get a different one. But you're gonna need to get something to hold this steady. And then this top is a 3/4 Allen, and that's a beefy boy. I tried doing it with the breaker bar, did not work, so I had to use the impact gun, and my impact gun is pretty heavy duty. So yeah, break that loose a little bit. Let me go get a different screwdriver that actually fits. I went too big, and we'll break that Allen loose, and then we'll continue. All right, that was not nearly as hard as I was expecting it to be, so really not that bad. Just gotta make sure that doesn't wiggle on you. All right, once those two are kind of broken loose when it's in there, we're gonna go ahead and remove the entire cartridge. Mine is held on by 3 Torx 45 bolts. And like I said, remember, I'm gonna have those shims on my lower fork clamp that you will not have. I might possibly have the single worst clamp setup in the history of the world. This is something I need to do, but I need to have more of a bench before I want to invest in like an actual clamp. So this sucks. This this is that absolute nightmare to work with. That's why the pliers are there to keep that from rotating. But this is the Jim's tool. It's part number, and I'll put the link, but it's part number 2251-1. It's basically just an adjustable fork clamp. So right now we're going to remove that bottom Allen. There is a crush washer. You can replace it. We're going to try reusing it. I know a lot of people that have reused it with no issues. So remove that crush washer, and then we're going to gotta let the oil drain. That's why my drain plug or pan is here. Let all the oil drain, and while it's draining, work the top tube up and down a little bit just to kind of aid in that. And then we're going to leave it alone for a few minutes and make sure that all the oil possible is out of there. All right, so in full disclosure, that bottom, for whatever reason, it just keeps rotating. It's not, I tried it with an impact just to see if there was like the extra I could have got. Nothing in the outside that is tangible is moving. I made sure the fork isn't moving, nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and try to take this top cover off first. Now, also to be aware, this is under pressure. There is a spring in here, so I probably should be using my rag instead, just in case. But yeah, there is a spring in here, so just be careful. It shouldn't be that bad, but it should be just still enough that it will surprise you. And oh, that wasn't that bad. All right, so this piece, I'm assuming, is what is turning in there somehow. So we're gonna go ahead and try to loosen that bottom again and see up here what is turning or not, and see if we can hold it down. It might be that tube, in which case we'll just put a screwdriver in there and get her done real quick. I still don't see anything moving, which is frustrating because I don't understand what this is not. Nothing else is rotating, so I don't understand what this could possibly. Let's see, can I tighten it? That's moving the cap. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I'm assuming. All right, so of course off camera, but I got it. Basically just had to tighten it and loosen it like a bunch of times. Something internally just was not, it just was not letting go. So I was holding this, tightening it, loosening it and everything, and it finally just dropped and released a little bit of spring tension. So there we go. And I have not seen the crush washer yet. I do not think it came out in the oil, so I'll still look for it, but that is the bolt. So yeah, this is the point. We're gonna work this up and down a little bit. Let this drain as much as possible through there. Should be able to lift all the internals out of here. Hopefully not get too much oil. Oh, you guys didn't even see that. That's my bad, guys. I'm trying to move the camera without getting oil all over it. Remove the stock internals, basically just this and this nut. I'm going to try to get it into the box without spilling oil everywhere. And we're just gonna let this drain as is for a few minutes. So once you make sure you have everything, like absolutely everything out of that tube, we're gonna start setting it up. For this side fork cartridge tube insert. We're going to be using this kind of thinner profile. There's another, you'll see for the other side, it's got like a thicker thing and more stuff dealing with it, but we're using this one for that. This little part is a preload adjustment. They have different levels. The zero turn as it comes is for 100 to 249 pound rider slash gear. I am under 200 pounds, so even if I were to put 50 pounds of gear on the bike, I still would be under that threshold. And then the next one up is 100, or is one turn. It's 250 to 349, then 350 to 450. So if you're a bigger rider, they definitely got you covered. I mean, like bigger rider. It also says that you do not have to worry about accounting for passenger. That's obviously mostly done on the back of the shocks, so don't worry about that. Probably gonna screw something up now that I took this off. So what we are going to go ahead and do is grab the tube here that's been draining. Oh, a little bit more oil came out of there. It's been draining for a long time now. I'm gonna grab it, flip it right side up again, extend it a little bit, and this piece is going to go right in there. So make sure it seats all of the way down. Maybe feel a click at some point, or... Okay, well, I think that's seated all the way down. I mean, can't get much much lower than that, I guess. Sideways up here. Now that make sure that there we go. That's what they were talking about. Put it up here. We're going to reinsert that bolt on the bottom here. And I did wind up finding the crush washer, so that's good, I guess, because we needed that. Clean up the bolt first. Use some blue Loctite on it. I don't remember if they said to or not, but I'm going to use blue Loctite anyway. So let's go ahead and do this, and then add the recommended amount of fluid. I believe it's 8.5 for this. Left hand fork. Yep, looks like it's 8.5 ounces of the shock oil that they include. So we're gonna go ahead and put this back in, flip it back up, put it here, and then put the oil back in before we tighten up the top. And I think the torque spec is 15 foot-pounds or inch-pounds. I think inch-pounds probably makes more sense on this, but I don't remember what the torque spec is, so consult your owner's manual or Google it if you want to go according to torque spec. So let's get this done, start filling her up. So once we have the oil in there, the correct amount, and it's kind of just loosely, I just did the top pinch bolt just for the sake of keeping it here. Once we're gonna get this, make sure, if you don't have the shims, obviously you need to measure with like a micrometer or whatever exactly, or, I mean, that's the best case. You can use a ruler, I guess, but it's not gonna be as exact. But you need to make sure that your height is the same on both forks. Since I have the shims, I drop these tubes right down to the very top lip. So I don't need to measure it because you could visually see if it's on the top lip or not. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is now, well, I'm gonna put the shims back, obviously, put the fork in its final spot. This bottom is free to move, so you don't have to worry about that. If you really wanted to, you could even make this whole top piece kind of even to where it says Legends, specifically when the forks are straight, if you were that crazy about it. But we're gonna go ahead and tighten these pinch bolts once we have the pinch bolts set. I can't remember the torque spec to it, but I know last time I did it at about 17 or 18, and I think that was right in the middle of the torque spec, so I'm just gonna do it to about 17 and 18 again, and hopefully that'll be good. And then this top requires 25 foot-pounds of torque, so nothing super crazy on that either. So let's go ahead and slide it down, put the shims back in my case, measure it in your case if you don't have the shims. And we're gonna go ahead and tighten everything up and get this side completely done so we can go over to that side. All right, so once you have the, when you're sitting on the bike, the right-hand side, the other side, once you have the pinch bolts holding it in the triple tree released, this is a different style, so there is no drain bolt on the bottom. It's gonna be a little bit of a different install. Like I said, make sure you break that loose before you get it out of there. It shouldn't be under any, yeah, I can do this even in my own hand. It's not even that difficult. So we're not even gonna be able to, or we're not even going to have to put this on the vise, although I have it. But we're gonna try to do it without the vise. It should be relatively simple. Basically, once, actually, I lied. We are gonna put it on the vise because the interior portion of this is gonna require both hands and it's gonna be a pain in the butt. So I lied. Let's put it in the vise first. All right, once that is done, we're gonna need a wrench on this part and the larger 3/4 on this. We're gonna need to loosen this nut holding this cap on, remove the cap, and then we can start taking the pieces out. All right, so at this point, once you have the top part off, this is where you are for sure, and definitely take it out of the vise because you can't use the vise for this, but this is where you are for sure going to need the Jim's part. And like I said, this other one was kind of icing on the cake. This Jim's part number is 5831. Again, link will be in the description, of course. This is a castle nut removal tool. So you need this. It's gonna go over there, and the suspension, the fork needs to be fully compressed to get to this part, and it's gonna fit into these grooves with the little pieces right there. So that's why you need the shock fully compressed. You need to get to it. It is a 1/7 size, so if you have a 7/8 crescent wrench, you'll be able to use it, but I can't find mine. I'm pretty sure I had one, but can't find it. Anyway, don't make the same mistake I did and accidentally move the shock higher than it was when it was in there, because there is a hole that will allow all of the oil to come out, and then you'll have a gigantic mess that you are trying to play catch up on to fix. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay it. You have to lay it sideways because you're gonna have to hold that part. Make sure that this crescent piece is on, or not, make sure that the castle nut removal tool is on, and then you're gonna go ahead and have to break this free. It should break free relatively easy. Well, I say that now, so. All right. Okay, so not breaking free really that easy at all, which means we have to go to plan B, which is to put that whole piece in the vise, hopefully with a paper towel, and it will not scratch anything up. So let me go ahead and rig that up real quick. All right, I got it loosened. I had my wife assist me. So now should be able to tighten it by hand. This is under spring pressure, so definitely be careful. This is under somewhat of an extreme spring pressure, so definitely want to be careful with this, which is why I'm doing two hands and I got a rag. But you should be able to loosen it the rest of the way by hand. It sucks not knowing how far these threads are, so you just have to brace yourself every single turn. It's got to be getting close, I'd imagine. Feel like I'm churning butter. Feel like I'm gonna be really surprised and shocked when this loosens, and then I'm gonna look like an idiot. Is this loosening? All right, it's loosening. Whoa. There we go. There it is. All right, so that was the whole use of your $100 Jim's tool. Freaking Harley Jim's crap. Take this part off, which is obviously the lock. Take this tiny spring off. You'll take this tube, really everything. I'm just trying to get as much off as possible. I can't really reach the spring. And then just drain all your excessive fluid, and I'm gonna let it set for a few minutes, draining fluid, even though a lot of it already came out. All right, once the cart or the fork is completely cleaned out, nothing in there, you got all of or most of all of your oil out, it's time to use the Legends insert that looks like this. Make sure it's all cleaned off. If you got any fuzzy stuff on it, it's basically gonna go all the way in. And this piece is gonna require some blue Loctite. I can't remember what size it is, but I can guarantee you probably do not have the correct size crescent wrench. So you're probably going to have to use a an open box wrench, or worst case scenario, like a pair of channel locks. Just be careful when you are putting this in, regardless of what you use, that you do not scratch it up, because if you scratch this part up, this part is still moving up and down in the tube, so you're going to wind up marring up the inside of your fork cartridge, or not the cartridge, but the fork tube on the outside. So it's gonna it's gonna suck. So we are using a crescent wrench. Oh, maybe we're not. I think this is the biggest one I have. Ooh, I really don't want to have to use channel locks. All right, so I'm gonna do this as careful as possible, which means it's gonna be out of frame, and I'm gonna use a bunch of towels, but I'm just gonna put paper towels and probably cardboard on here to make sure I don't mar it up, but just make sure this is pretty good and tight. Then we're gonna add the recommended amount of oil, which for this bike, and I believe Fat Bob's are the same, on this side is 5.1 ounces. I already have it all measured out. We're gonna put that in there, essentially, and then, you know, similar, close that up, put it back in the bike, which you guys will see that portion of it. This top, again, torque it down to 25 foot-pounds. And then the pinch bolts, I either wrote them on screen already, or I will, the actual torque spec. I just know I do 17 or 18, which is right in the middle. I think it's 16 to 20, so 17 to 18 is close to the middle, somewhere on there on the lower spectrum. So yeah, I'll go ahead and finish this, put it on the bike, and then I'll see you guys over there. All right, so the install is done. It's hard to tell, supposedly these are really good. They do not have that dip, from aggressive braking and stuff. So we'll see if I can notice them. I mean, it's cool. It's nice. It's an added bonus, of course, like everything you do. When you spend money and time on your bike, it's nice when people notice it. So it is nice having these caps say Legends right there. Obviously, people can see that it's aftermarket suspension. I will try to ride several hundred miles at least and then do a follow-up video to let you guys know if it's a felt difference and if I like it or don't like it or whatever. Unfortunately, I won't be able to really put them to the test on like some twisties until my Tail of Dragon trip this year, which is coming up in about like 3-4 months, somewhere in there. So still have yet to figure out logistics about that, but pretty cool. I do have more stuff still planned for the bike. I'm debating on doing something real big. Haven't decided yet. If I do something real big, I'm gonna do a bunch of real big things at the same time, and it'll just be a bunch of videos back to back. And if I don't do something real big, then at the very least, I think I'll be taking my wheels off and some other components and sending them off to get powder coated. So aesthetically, the bike is 100% complete. I know in the past, if you guys have followed my channel for a while, I've talked about doing a custom paint job. I've decided against that just because it's a lot of time, and I just don't really care that much about it to spend that kind of money in the paint. Yeah, it's cool, but I don't feel like my money would be better spent somewhere else. So I am gonna powder coat the wheels. I have a guy that does powder coating really good for me. He's got like a legitimate business, but someone I've used in the past. Good work and cheap. I've already decided on, oh my God, now I can't remember it. Playboy Blue. So don't take that color. Playboy Blue is the color I've decided on doing the wheels. I might do the levers, probably do the brake and shift lever like on the bottom just to stand out. Probably do something with the air cleaner. I don't know, something else, something small. I'm not sure, just little bits here and there really make it pop against the blue. I think it'll be like a real nice, classy look. But yeah, this install is done. I don't know. Time will tell if I like it or not. It is really simple and easy. It was a pain in the butt getting some of the stuff loosened, but again, very easy. To recap, I'll put pictures up right now. You will need the Jim's castle nut removal tool for sure. 100% cannot be done without it, or at least another similar castle nut tool, but that Jim's is, you're gonna need at least that size because the shaft on the inside of the fork prohibits you from using anything else. And then the, oh, why can't I think of the name? The clamp for the fork. It's an adjustable fork clamp, so once you buy that, you can use it on a bunch of different forks, different sizes, different variations and everything. So if you're someone that, like me, who likes to do their own kind of wrenching and stuff and build stuff, definitely something that you'll use in the future, I think. But make sure you do check out Tucker Speed. Again, Tucker Speed, they're good people. They help me out. They help you guys out with a coupon code, the Riding Dad coupon code. You guys get some money off. So make sure you check out the description of this YouTube video and really any other ones because the affiliate link is there. Just click it. Takes you right there on either your phone or on a web browser, like on an actual computer or desktop or laptop, whatever. And then the coupon code is right below that. It's Riding Dad. So you can get some money off of stuff like this. So again, as always, big thanks to Tucker Speed for helping us and really everybody out. Solid dudes. So get yourself some suspension. They also carry different ones. They carry, as of right now, I think the GP suspension kit. But like I said, we talked about why I went with the Legend Axios. Just felt like it was a good bang for the buck. Lots of good reviews and just looked real simple of an install, which it really is. So under $1,000 DIY, you can do this yourself for sure and get some real good quality suspension. Hopefully, I think so. We'll see. So yeah, make sure you are subscribed, like this video. It really helps me out a bunch. Turn on post notifications so you never miss one of my videos when they come out, like the one explaining how and if I feel any difference and what it is with these, new suspension components. Check out the videos at the end of this description, or at the end of this video, and in the description there's links for all my build series playlists, so if you want to see what more I have done and in the future what I have for this Lowrider S, check those out. And until the next time guys, ride safe, have fun. Dad out.